Hi, everyone. I'm Gaurav Gujral, and with me today is my colleague Olivia Neal from Microsoft. Both Olivia and I feel passionate and a real sense of urgency around the topic of environmental sustainability and preserving our natural capital and biodiversity as we look to restore balance to the planet in the post-pandemic era. And while we recognize that sustainability goes beyond the environmental dimension, as a kickoff to this series, I'd like to focus on government's role to provide resilience and recovery support to its citizens. Governments truly do have an opportunity to lead by example in this space, and we're here to help them get there.
I absolutely agree, Gaurav. Thank you so much for hosting this conversation and kicking this off today. I think what we're seeing is that increasingly, as we work with public sector organisations, it's becoming clear that addressing environmental sustainability challenges is not something that is confined to one region or one part of public sector. We're seeing governments, defence organisations, educational institutions, all pushing forward in addressing these challenges and these opportunities. What we're seeing is when governments are thinking about environmental sustainability is that it's not just about greening their operations. Governments are also responsible for protecting life and property, preparing for crises and helping to respond to those effectively. And also thinking about policy making and regulation. Governments are really focusing on how best to use data to address those challenges relating to environmental sustainability.
And I think fleets and infrastructure are a great example of that. So if we look at the pledges that were made at COP26, we are going to see even a greater push and a strong collective resolve to accelerate energy transition, electrification of mobility, decarbonizing public infrastructure and the built environment. All of this will need a systems level response across whether it's government, city regional administrations, transportation companies, builders and developers, and would need to be underpinned by AI, data, and cloud-based platforms. A great example of this transformation is the Accenture Microsoft Transport platform that we recently launched at the Smart City Expo in Barcelona.
I think we all know that we can't manage what we're not measuring. And so for us at Microsoft, we focused on that collection and analysis of data. We've created something called the Cloud for Sustainability. And what this software as a service offering provides to organizations is the opportunity to bring together myriad different sets of data that look at carbon emissions across not just scope 1, but scope 1, 2, and 3. So really thinking about the whole value chain.
So here we're starting to see some really interesting developments as well. So for instance, a large energy company has teamed up with Accenture and Microsoft to develop a first of its kind methane emissions monitoring platform, where satellites will be able to identify and track methane in real time, providing greater accuracy in both collection and reporting of the data. And we're going to see a lot more of these sort of developments in the future.
I think so. And I think using AI and cloud-based capabilities, we really can analyze and use data at a much larger scale to meet our environmental objectives.
If we look at the role of governments, they inevitably will need to play a balancing act. And in their multiple roles, for instance, providing clear, ambitious, and binding regulations, and in their role as influencer in terms of nudging customers and businesses to change behaviors, and indeed as buyers and operators of their own operations, large estates, fleets, their workforces. We at Accenture and Microsoft are truly excited to support governments and public service leaders on this path as partners, because if there's one message that I took away from COP is that together we can safeguard our planet and create a sustainable future for our next generation.